Welcome back. Violinist Patrick Yim made his solo debut with his hometown orchestra and one of America's oldest, the Honolulu Symphony Orchestra. Sadly, since then, the Honolulu Symphony has had to declare bankruptcy and has risen from the ashes as a Hawaii Symphony Orchestra. But Patrick has gone from strength to strength. Having performed in venues all around the world and with a wide range of musicians, he's currently an assistant professor in the Department of Music at Hong Kong Baptist University. He's preparing an upcoming solo recital in Kwun's new music program, Spotlight, and he's here to tell us more.
So Patrick, it's great to have you here in the studio. Thanks for coming in. I'd like to begin by asking you about this wonderful recital program that you've put together for the Kwun series. You're calling it Virtuoso or something along these lines, and it really is quite an eclectic collection of works. Take me through the program.
It's called Virtuosity, and I think normally when we hear a violin recital, we tend to hear maybe complete Bach solo violin partitas and sonatas, or maybe the complete Paganini caprices. But what I wanted to do here was sort of take a survey of the solo violin repertoire, starting with some Bach, who we tend to think of as starting this, genre. And then, of course, going to Paganini, have to include a little bit of him. And Ysaÿe is on the program too, great Belgian violinist and composer who knew the instrument very well and sort of took it beyond what Paganini did. But I also have some lesser heard works. Sicong was a very prolific composer of violin works, and he himself was a violinist. So I have some of his solo violin sonata on the program. And then I have some Saariaho, bringing us sort of later into the present day, and 3 new works by Hong Kong composers.
That must be quite an interesting component of putting the old with the new, and also sort of exploring maybe the evolving definition of virtuosity as it may have changed over the decades and centuries.
Yes, I think the traditional concept of virtuosity is sort of playing really fast and really difficult music. But I think I wanted to also look at the aspect of virtuosity that has to do with being able to manipulate and change the tone color. And so I wanted to explore that side of virtuosity. So in the Saariaho, which I'll play later in the program, there's a lot of change in timbre, moving the bow from near the bridge to on the fingerboard, also using some unpitched noise in addition to a lot of harmonics. And I wanted the composers, the 3 local composers, to write pieces that had to deal with that aspect of virtuosity, is playing with color, playing with... And so what's interesting about this Kwun recital is that it's sort of a 2-part event. So the first night, which is on the 20th of April, will be a sort of a traditional violin recital. I'll play through all the pieces. And the second night, which is on the 21st, I'm going to actually have a different format. I won't play through all the pieces, but I will play through the new pieces. And the 3 composers will be there, and we'll have a chance to talk about their works, what inspired it. And I'm also going to take some pieces from the full program and pair them with the new works and draw parallels and sort of delve deeper into what they're doing now when they write these works.
So if we could understand a little bit better about your background, it seems like you have had quite an eclectic mix of influences in your own musical background, which may also be reflected in this program that you've described at Kwun.
So yeah, I was born in Hawaii and I grew up there, and I studied music there with a member of the orchestra, local orchestra, Honolulu Symphony. And then I went to the Cleveland Institute of Music, and I had sort of a very traditional conservatory training. And then I went to Stony Brook. Stony Brook in New York has sort of an emphasis on contemporary music. And so actually what we had to do was we play, I think it's 6 recitals, and you have to have basically 1 recital worth of contemporary music spread out throughout those 6 recitals. That's where I sort of jumped into the contemporary music. And since I came to Hong Kong in 2017, that's been sort of a big thing that I've been doing, is working with composers, commissioning works and recording them. So I think it's helped me to see music, interpret it from a compositional perspective. And that's been a great advantage, I think.
You've mentioned you're going to play the Saariaho for us. What can you tell us about that piece?
It's called The Nocturne, and it was written in memory of Lutoslawski, So it's in '94. Saariaho sort of got very interested in this spectralist type of music, where you take a computer analysis of the sound spectrum. And so that's why she uses all these different kinds of colors, a lot of harmonics in her music, and as I said before, some unpitched sound on the sound spectrum. And overall, the whole mood of it is quite contemplative and reflective, a little bit somber. But I think despite having all these kinds of, contemporary sounds, I think it's quite a moving piece.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.